Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening. How are we?
Good evening, Bronze. Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Craig.
As we go on, I will definitely make sure me and Craig are speaking better with each other.
Yeah. Because he told me he was a bit upset.
He said, "Oh, you dyslexic nutcase! Why can't you just get right what you need to write?" Anyway,
yeah.
Viv,
Yeah.
do you know that 49 people listened to our last chat?
Really? What on YouTube?
Indeed.
Bloody hell!
Yes, we were just wondering that maybe if this might be a better way to go for 4D, instead of faffing around him sending it to me and then me sending it to you and then posting it up on your Substack, if he just puts it straight up on his YouTube channel and then you can just put a link in your Substack to it.
Oh yes. I was thinking that actually, as I noticed it's on. I realised. It's up on YouTube. That would be very straightforward, and I can then just drop it into the feed.
Exactamente.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe we should just do that for now and just leave it all up to 4D to do all the donkey work, and we can sit.
Oh, that's harsh.
And I'll tell you what, I got some feedback from someone I know, and I found it interesting. She said, excuse me. She said, interesting discussion. It's great to hear.
Is that what she said?
Yeah. She cleared her throat first.
Interesting discussions and great to hear men sharing their ideas and perspectives, just like they used to down the pub over a pint. Men talk about very different subjects compared to women. And I just thought, she wrote that, and I thought, actually, that is all weird. It's like three blokes that just meet up in a pub and we just chat. It's exactly like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a brilliant comment, isn't it? Well, hey, this is really positive. I'll put the last one up. I'll copy the link over and introduce it and say this will become a regular feature. If we're going to go with this, so we agree, gents. Should we do this?
Yeah.
On the subject of feedback, I did get a bit of feedback from some of our American friends, a couple of our American friends who actually listened to the whole thing. I was quite surprised, and they thought it was great. They really enjoyed it. So
there you go.
Let's go forwards.
All right. Onwards and upwards, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, that thing. Not like you just said. Yeah.
All right. I can now say that my comment from last week, which was completely wrong, has become completely right. Cash Patel is now.
You were a week. You had a premonition there, Viv. You were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So yes, Cash Patel has officially been confirmed as the FBI director, and let's see how long it takes him to drop the Epstein client list.
Yippee! Can't wait.
Yeah. So excellent.
I'm kind of hanging on the whole QMAP site, waiting for the possibility of something happening there as well. I don't know if I'm being too excitable or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Why would Q start reposting now? Does he really need to, or does it need to?
No, you're right, absolutely, and and it doesn't matter to me if he does or if it does or doesn't. But I suppose that's why I added that. Am I being too excitable? Because, but there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So one question I wanted to ask you, Viv. You put a post up on your Substack about that N-acetyl. I can never remember the name of it.
Yeah.
And you kind of put it in a post about the British Supplements website. And I wanted to ask you where you get it from, because I looked on their website and it doesn't seem to be anything like that there amongst their supplements. So I wondered where you actually get it from.
Right. As far as I know, they do sell NAC. But of course, I may be wrong.
Well, you did say that you take it regularly, so you obviously get some.
Yeah, I've got a bottle or a canister from Vitalite, which is again pure or clean NAC. I was gonna get it from British Supplements, but if they don't sell it, then I thought they did. I honestly did. They
Well, after I read your post, I had a cursory look at their website and I couldn't see anything obvious that was NAC on there. So that's why I wanted to ask you. But I would like to know, if they don't do it, where you do get it from, because I would like to get some of that.
Yeah, they do NAC. Yeah,
do
it
they?
is. Yeah, £12.95. 747 milligrams plus the uptake, £12.95.
Okay, maybe
there
I missed
it is.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Clean NAC. Right. Clean NAC uptake plus uptake blend. Yeah.
Okay, great.
You can get 3 months for £30.
All right.
And just explain what NHA is.
NHA. What's that? NAC.
NAC.
The National Housing Association.
Changing the subject, Woody.
Me and letters, eh?
Yeah, letters. Oh, damn it! I know what you mean, mate. I know.
Yeah. I don't know why humans put such emphasis in letters. Who cares? Just put three together. You knew what I meant.
Just you know, it's proof we're not AI. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's kind of maybe you know a bit more about it than I do. You can explain better, Viv, what it is.
Yeah, reading from Mike Turner's Substack, it binds spike protein, right? So if you the COVID spike protein and the mRNA vaccines cause your body to produce in large quantities. NAC binds, in other words, inactivates the spike protein. Also, as does vitamin C, quercetin, ivermectin, and some CBD oil. It's COVID prevention and treatment, direct viral, antiviral activity, strengthens immune system, especially the lungs, and thins mucus. So if you have problems with thick phlegm, NAC. Potent anti-cancer properties. Who knew that? It boosts energy output and mitochondrial function. So mitochondria are parts of your cells dedicated to energy production. Healthier they are, the better every organ system in your body will function, especially energy intensive and antioxidant. There's two molecules inside NAC, anti-inflammatory. So it controls the inflammatory process, autoimmune problems, osteoarthritis, and finally, it's good for brain. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, bringing its antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects to the most vital tissues of all, and boosts dopamine activity. Helps benefit conditions like brain fog, brain injury, ALS, and autism. And psychiatrists have used it for years to treat problems like schizophrenia, bipolar, and OCD.
Well, it's probably a very good time just to say that we are not medical professionals, and this is not medical advice.
No, but I am reading from a doctor.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you, Brondes. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right.
Explain what that is. So, yeah. Anyway, is that part of a daily routine, or just when you've got a cold?
I take it every day, along with eight other supplements, some of which may not be necessary, but I do swear by NAC. The actual benefits, like a lot of supplements, aren't. It's not like you're taking LSD, or
Yeah.
I think NAC is a kind of it doesn't just really have one purpose. It seems to cover quite a few areas of assistance. So it seems like a bit of a multi-purpose supplement.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Again,
fact,
people expecting miracles from supplements. It sometimes happens, but mostly the effects are quite subtle.
Well, they're either quite subtle, or maybe you don't notice them because they're actually stopping things that would affect you. So rather than coming down with a certain ailment, you won't come down with a certain ailment. So
that's exactly right. I mean, I can say that from taking supplements for years and years, and recently taking the clean supplements, I haven't had a cold or anything apart from a few sniffles over the New Year, starting on New Year's Day for one day, and then I was back to work the next day. So New Year's Day, then straight into work, feeling a bit under the weather. But, I mean, in comparison, one of my colleagues was off for a whole week and said he felt like he was dying of the same thing, whatever the thing is. But, the thing that was going around in New Year.
Yeah.
Supplements and things that we take, certainly after the big event that happened, I got more into looking into natural stuff, and certainly when I came up to see you for Stand in the Park, listening to some of the people there, but it's another great subject, especially with RFK Jr. getting in, and with some of the things he spoke of, which I know we've already spoke of. But like I take collagen as a daily supplement as well, which is supposed to be good for hair, eyes, skin, and then for me personally, for my arthritic condition. And like you said, I can't prove that it's working, but I know I'm not having as much pain as sometimes I do. So maybe, all these things that we do are worth talking about. It's certainly not dangerous stuff we're talking about anyway.
No. I mean, I'm almost. I bought a few supplements from British supplements about a month ago. I need to reorder actually, and clean collagen was amongst those. Vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, or other ones that I bought, and yeah. So like I said, I don't necessarily feel anything specific has changed, but I'm quite happy to take them, and I do feel that they're worth taking. Personally, that's my personal opinion. And I've always taken vitamin C anyway. I kind of swear by vitamin C. I think that's pretty much essential. So it's good. It's good to know that there is a instead of going down to your local big chain store where they use loads of bulking agents and the quality is not. You can't really depend on the quality. You get a website like British Supplements, and it's all clean, and they've got the right attitudes. If you read their homepage, it lays out all of their kind of
ethos.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for ethos, and it's quite it's nice to be able to support a company like that. So there you go. And they're not too expensive either. They're not too expensive. Another one is Clive de Carle, who's another UK-based one, but his stuff tends to be quite expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I got iodine and fulvic minerals from Clive de Carle, and they're one of the iodine's quite a large bottle. They're both dropper bottles, and the fulvic minerals is quite small. Together, they were £50. Both of them, which is, I think, is a lot, but you know.
Well, I also bought both of those from Clive de Carle a while back. But they're very difficult to take. They're very difficult because the taste is so strong and so pungent.
Yeah.
Even you try and mix it with something to mask the taste, it's still there. So they are actually quite a struggle to take on a regular basis, I've got to say.
They're hardcore. I've been advised to fill a half a litre water bottle with distilled water with an amount of cider, of organic natural cider vinegar with the mother, and then put the fulvic minerals and the iodine in, and you can chuck other stuff in as well. And I haven't tried this method yet, but iodine, whoa, it's hardcore, isn't it? The taste.
Well, that stuff.
Yeah,
well, the taste. It really, it's almost like you got fur growing in your mouth after you take that. But that stuff, iodine. If you remember, we're all old guys here. I remember when I was a kid in school, like in primary school, and you fall over and you graze your knee, and one of the dinner ladies who was on patrol during the playtime used to take you up, and she used to put iodine on it. That yellow stuff, you remember?
Yeah.
That was iodine.
Yeah, it made you go all browny yellow. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So it was recognised back then as a useful thing to use for even for just cuts and grazes.
I mean, basically, all these things we're talking about are prophylactic. They're meant to prevent things happening, whereas Big Pharma, with the large H, P capital HARMA, treats stuff after it's happened, unless things like what are those things? Statins. Now, a number of people are reporting they've come off statins by taking, what are they taking in from British Supplements? Damn, I can't remember. One of their many products anyway, and they're saying, oh, I've able to come off statins. So some of these things do have immediate effects on people, you know.
By the way, we're not in any way sponsored by British Supplements.
No. Not yet.
Oh yeah, we're open to offers.
Yippee! Yeah.
Also, when a lot of these things are part of an old-fashioned lifestyle, as Brondes was saying there with the iodine on the cut. St. George, what's his name, Wart, all these old-fashioned things that we don't use anymore.
That's very
herbal remedy.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, I'd take ashwagandha, which has been used in Indian Ayurvedic medicine for centuries. So, yeah, for sure.
I've got a book which I must get back to looking into. It's called The Herbal Drugstore, and it's the best natural alternatives for over-the-counter and prescription medication. And some of the things in there are just amazing. Most of it you can go outside and get for free, and I do think that's the reason we don't use this stuff anymore, because there's no money in it for the government.
You can't patent it. You can't patent this stuff, you know,
because it's natural. Yes.
And besides, the modern model of medicine does not want to cure you because they don't have a source of income. Then, if you're healthy, you're not filling up the doctor's, doctor's mistress's bonus or whatever he's spending all that money on. You know,
that's right.
I mean, today it's sad what's happened to doctors, but they're just money grabbing now because they've been made that way, because they're running small businesses since the NHS reforms. I mean, today I was shocked. A woman phoned me. She said, "Do I need a medical certificate?" And I say, "Yeah, I reckon you do." And she goes, "Well, the doctor's charging me £90 for it." And I said, "Well, this takes about 5 minutes to fill out. £90? Yeah. For an insurance a medical certificate, you know."
Dentists are another one. I think they've only just learnt from dentists. My friend bless, uses the dentist for everything. And she tells me some of the stories, and I just think, what you paid? What is it? The hygienist, where it's literally just someone telling you how to brush your teeth. It's nothing, and it's about 50 quid. But so many people have fallen into this trap where they think it's important, and I don't blame them, because it's told to us all the time. You've got to go up for your checkup, and you've got to do this, got to do that. But the money that's involved is ridiculous, and I often think, I often know that they're doing it just to make some money.
Yeah.
Well,
no doubt. No doubt.
It's funny that you bring up dentists, 4D. I was about to mention that because I went. I had a hygienist appointment last week, and it's a 6-monthly thing. And to be fair, they don't just tell you how to clean your teeth. They do sort of scale. They take it. They clean up they clean out all the plaque. Plaque, and they give you a polish and this, that, and the other. So I'm okay with going to a hygienist. It did cost me 80 quid, but I've been brushing my teeth. I've been brushing my teeth with bicarbonate of soda.
Yeah,
probably about the last year. Okay, and when I spoke to my dentist about it previously, she advised me against it. She said, no, you shouldn't use that. It's too abrasive. And then we got into a whole discussion about fluoride and sodium lauryl sulfate in toothpaste and stuff. And I just carried on using it. But the funny thing is, this hygienist appointment I went to last week, she actually said to me, have you changed any of your habits at all? And I said, no, why? She says, well, your teeth aren't as stained as they normally are, and your gums are in pretty good condition. Your gums are in good condition. And the only thing I could think of is I've been using bicarbonate of soda to brush my teeth because nothing else has changed.
There you go. So
you're just using bog standard bicarbonate of soda.
Yes, you do have to be careful though, because some of them you have to look at the ingredients. They add other ingredients like anti-caking agents, and they have these quite scary names, which doesn't look good. So I make sure whenever I buy bicarbonate of soda, I look at the ingredients, and it has nothing else other than sodium bicarbonate in the ingrets.
Yep,
right.
Exactly the same. I use the American brand Arm & Hammer. It's called baking soda, but it's bicarb. And there's nothing else in it. Nothing else in it. I use that, and in combination with organic food grade coconut oil.
You're just using that for the flavour, I take it.
No, apparently coconut oil will draw out if you swish it around your mouth. Use the bicarb first, and then I use bicarb second brush, bicarb with a bit of oil, coconut oil, and then finally I slush around a bit of the coconut oil, and apparently it draws out. It has this quality that it draws out debris from the gaps in your teeth, the interstices of the teeth.
But one other point as well. One other point which struck me was when we get taught to brush our teeth when we're very early, okay, and we use toothpaste, and we get into the routine of brushing and then spitting it out. And the reason we spit it out is because we don't want to be swallowing toothpaste because it's not good for us, and it becomes such a habit that you just do it. And now I'm using bicarbonate of soda. I've kind of realized actually it's better for me to swallow than spit it out, because that's actually going to help me as well. Bicarbonate of soda is going to help me if I take it into my body as well. And it's such an instinctive thing just to brush your teeth and spit it out, and you do it without thinking.
Yeah.
But if it's using bicarbonate of soda, you don't have to spit it out. You can swallow it, and that's going to help your body as well. That's
a very good point. And the same with coconut. And I often, just to finish off the dental regime, I'll spray a bit of maybe, I think about 6% hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Okay, as a sanitizer, and it's also good. H2O2 is fantastic. Funny you can't get it. It's not easy to get. Wonder why. It's fantastic for wounds as well, for dressing wounds, and also for cleaning, as is bicarb and white vinegar, all that stuff. You know, we got everything we need. We don't have to buy weird shit.
On the subject there of where you said it's not easy to get, that was something else I wanted to ask you. Where do you get it from? Because I'm not sure where to get that, because it doesn't seem to be readily available anywhere I've looked. Is that another online thing?
It's weird. Yeah, it is online. It's weird. I used to get it from the pharmacy. It was easily obtainable, and then suddenly, about a year ago, roughly, they were going, "Oh, there's a shortage of this stuff." And I thought, "Is there rubbish? Bollocks, there is." So I go down the Polish shop. So we got one here called Rasputin, so brilliantly named Eastern European food store. But they do have some medications, and you can get it there. So a Polish shop, or a decent stocked Polish shop, will have a low percentage, which you use for you can use it in your mouth, spray it up your nose. The stronger stuff, I have a bottle which I ordered online. It's 12%, I think. I use that for cleaning, for spraying mold as well. It gets rid of mold.
What an interesting so it does mold and it's good for your body.
Yep. Yeah.
And it makes sense, because mold is it's just like viruses. It's just like forgotten what you call these things. Virus.
Antibacterial. It sounds
bacteria.
Like
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah.
So interesting.
I still haven't managed to get myself any ivermectin, which is annoying me, actually. I have got a website to get it, and I've just been lazy. I haven't got hold of it. And I had a conversation with someone who's got another person who's got very, very ill, and it just reminded me I've got to get hold of some of that ivermectin.
Yeah, it's got really expensive now. You know, it used to be produced in bulk by Indian labs and sold from Indian chemists. And they've sort of I think a lot of the retailers have cottoned on, and they've pushed the price up. I got mine. I got the horse paste. You know, the notorious horse paste that people laugh at, like, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You can get that. I've had it for a while. I haven't used it yet because it's not been necessary. But you can use it for parasite protocol.
Well, I was going to say you can use it as a kind of detox, like you say. So you can use it anytime you want, really, I suppose.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. There are other ones, like the one everyone takes the piss out of, Donald Trump. He's talking about bleach. What he meant, he means that water purifier thing for. I think you put it in fish tanks as well.
Chlorine dioxide. Yeah, MMS. That's it. Yeah, chlorine dioxide.
Chlorine dioxide. Exactly.
That's another one. That's years ago. I was thinking of getting some of that. Years and years ago, I was getting.
Yeah.
Because that's when he was talking about sunlight and bleaching, and they sort of took the mickey out of him, saying he was telling people to drink bleach, and it was actually completely logical what he was talking about.
Yeah, well, they would say that. You know, every time I always think of that during the Profumo trial back in the 60s. Mandy Rice Davis, or the other one on trial, she said to a witness who was backing up the state's case, she said, "Oh, but he would say that, wouldn't he?" Well, of course, all the media, which is captured, as we know, they would say that. All the commentators, of course, they'd say that. They're bought, paid, and controlled.
A great subject change, because I was going to say I am really loving the taunting that Trump's doing about going down to Fort Knox and checking if the gold is there.
I hadn't heard about that. No.
Oh, really?
No.
I literally half an hour ago I saw another one with a press conference, and it's aboard Air Force One, I believe, And it's the way he is like a small I've not heard Trump like it before, but he's like a small child saying, wouldn't it be funny if the gold's not there? And obviously, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think obviously he and Elon Musk already know the gold's not there, because Elon Musk also went on Twitter and said, shall I live stream the event?
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone, you reckon someone's nicked it? That would be mind-boggling.
Not someone, and also see, I think this is a bigger conspiracy theory, because there's the same with the English gold reserves. There's various stories, but one of them that I like is that some time ago, all of the wealthiest people in the world said, why are we paying all this money to look after our gold? Let's put it somewhere else. We'll all put all of our gold together. We own all of the gold of the world anyway. And they moved all the gold out of the places that we believed the gold was into their own big place somewhere in the world. And that one of that group did the dirty on all of them, and actually this whole gold market is another fake commodity, that there is no gold in Fort Knox. The British government have no gold, and I don't know.
We do know Gordon Brown sold the gold, because that was publicly admitted, although it doesn't mean a great deal, but
that's right.
He said, he did say he'd sold the gold reserves, which is interesting.
There were some stories a few days ago about a lot of gold being moved from London over to the USA.
Oh.
Now I don't quite know. I don't quite know what the reasons given for that were, or even if it actually happened. But there were stories coming out about it, and everyone was asking questions. So maybe they got wind of Trump and Musk wanting to audit Fort Knox, and they thought, shit, we've got to find some gold. Let's ship it over from London, fill up Fort Knox. He can do his audit, and then we'll send it back. I don't know.
Well,
that's not so crazy. No, that's not so crazy. I can imagine a situation like that where they've phoned all their buddies around the world and said, damn, he's coming down, get some gold. We'll just, as long as he sees it in the vault, that's all that needs to happen, and then we'll give it back to you. I've
got a great idea, lads. We'll just get loads of bricks and paint them gold.
Yeah,
stick them in.
Yeah, we'll get some school kids, local school kids can paint a load of bricks, get some gold paint, sorted.
But imagine if the US market, let's say tonight they go in there and there's no gold, and tomorrow the market's open at. I mean, I love my looking into finance and things, but I can't comprehend what would happen if the US government suddenly were insolvent.
Well, a lot of gold bugs' heads would explode, that's for sure.
Well,
I considered joining that bank Tally, which is a gold-based bank. A mate of mine has doubled their deposit. Doubled.
What do you mean?
Well, it's backed by gold. It's an account. It's a bank called Tally.
Oh, I see.
And they're backed by gold. And as the price of gold rises, you get money back. Unusually for a bank, you get money from them. They don't take money from you. You get money from them.
Wow. Right. Yeah. There's a concept. That's how money should work.
Well, yeah. Yeah, indeed.
I've been £30 here, £50 there. I've been buying silver for 5 years now, and when I look at the price of the first silver I bought compared to the price of silver today, it's gone up so much.
Yeah, it's pretty good investment, isn't it, silver?
It has been the last couple of years, and even since Trump said all the things he's been saying, I think the markets went crazy. Because I was looking to buy some more silver last night, and so I thought I'd have a look at the markets, and this is why I don't go on there very often, because autistic in as much as I sit just watching the markets fluctuate, and I find it very interesting. On one screen I've got the silver, on one screen I've got gold, and I can see also the American market and the English market, and it's, to me, it's fantastically interesting watching how much things change by the second in the world markets. But last night it was all over the place,
Yeah, money makes the world go round, so they say.
It enslaves us all, that's for sure.
Indeed. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evils. Love of money, by the way, people always misquote that from the Bible.
The love of money, yes, that is quite a significant thing to say. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It's not money; it's the love of money.
So I suppose it might help as well to define exactly what you mean by money, because what are you talking about? Are you talking about fiat currency? Are you talking about
yeah
anything
well, I think,
of value, or
well, it's bartering power, whatever that person likes, because these days you can have land, property, gold, human beings, but anyone who loves money loves, I guess it's the power that money brings, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we do need it. It's the way the system has been constructed under our very noses and presented to us, rather than us being able to construct it ourselves. The technocrats over the decades have done this. Money is not backed by anything solid anymore. As Brondes said, it's fiat currency. Used to be backed by gold, didn't it? Until Bretton Woods in the early 70s divested just removed the gold backing, the gold standard, I think it was. I can't remember exactly the year. And then moving on to Gordon Brown, getting rid of the gold reserves. So it's just printed now. It's fiat. It doesn't matter anymore.
well, it's very strange.
They just print it, man. It's zeros and ones on a computer screen.
Well, what is strange now is money does. It gives you a sense of security. That's the attraction to money, and you can have supposedly a better standard of life if you have more money. Most people, almost everybody worries about money. We've got to pay the rent, we've got to pay the mortgage, you've got to put food on the table, buy this, buy that. So it's always a concern. But these days, as you say, Viv, money. Currency, cash, whatever you want to call it, is not backed by anything. They just print it, and it's so they can just print it whenever they want, and it's not backed by anything. So it's basically worthless.
Yeah,
it kind of undermines the whole thing of it being adding security, because it could just disappear at any moment.
I know, and by printing money, you do run the risk of inflation as well, or various kinds of fluctuations.
Yeah, I mean it's a big Ponzi scheme, I think, because to break it down into really basic terms, it's the banks, the central banks, which are not part of government. They are private banks. They print the money for the government, but when they print it and give it to the government, they put interest on it. So there's always debt, because there's never ever enough money to cover the debt, because you don't just you don't just have to pay back the money that's printed. You have to pay it back with interest, which doesn't exist. Yeah. So it's it's just a big scam.
Someone called it, I think there was a book called Voodoo Economics, which may not apply in this case, but it's certainly voodoo economics. Of course, we've come a long way. We've come a long way when something was fungible. In other words, exchangeable for something of the same. So money used to be, back in the day, you'd have gold coins, bronze coins, silver coins. Gold essentially is still got the same purchasing power nowadays, over 2,000 years later, as it had in the Roman Empire. When you compare like for like, if you can, a top class toga for a Roman senator costs the same in gold as a Savile Row tailored suit does for the modern gentleman and the modern parliamentarian.
Yeah. I think that's probably where Trump's going with this whole, because even with the Doge, with the government efficiency, saving money, and then going into Fort Knox to inspect the gold, I certainly know from the Q days, it was all about bringing down the banking system, and that they'd started this when they brought down the Titanic and brought in the Federal Reserve. So if this is all about money, it's mind-blowing to think where this could go if Fort Knox is empty, like I say.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, on a wider scale, we have in this little country of England, we have things like the Audit Commission and groups that are supposed to audit, to look into finances and entities, organizations, the monetary basis of this, what they're doing with the money, how it's being spent, where they're getting it from. But this doesn't truly happen. Where has all the money gone that has been sent to Ukraine? I mean, I know money, it's not necessarily money as such, it's armaments as well. But have we got an audit trail? Are we getting an audit trail of this, of our money? Well, it's apparently our money. I don't know if it is really.
You don't even need an audit. Zelensky came out yesterday and said that he's lost half of the money. He doesn't know where half of the money is. Half of 40 billion is 20 billion. That's a lot of money.
I know.
Well, I think we know where it's gone. It's gone back. It's gone back to enrich all of the politicians who okayed it in the first place.
Well, yes, but
it's been laundered. It's laundered. It's a massive money laundering operation.
It does appear to be so. Yes. We need absolute clear proof of that. But it's looking that way, isn't it? It's looking that way.
And the fact is, I was going to say, it's not the government's money. Everyone's saying, "Oh, the government's sending the money." It's not the government's money. The government essentially doesn't have any money. It's our money. It's taxpayers' money. It's money they take from us.
That's correct. Yes. Plus other things, other shenanigans, other tomfoolery that goes on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The thing that annoys me every single time I hear anything about the war at the moment is no one wants to mention what was going on in 2014 and the horrific things. And it really, because it's like my personal problem with Bosnia, where no one will talk about that, and it's the same thing. No one wants to tell the truth. It's not wrong for me to say they reported that it was all the Nazis, and that's what was reported about it, and in the burning of the people in the building, and then the Zelensky coming to power. All of it is utter corruption, and I hate that the media are still covering this crap up. People are dying for this. People die for this.
I know. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. I mean, I wrote a piece about this when I put up J.D. Vance's speech, which I thought was rather good, actually. But we're just not told. I said in my piece as well, I went on the BBC. I looked at the BBC today. They've allowed comments on one of their pieces about Ukraine, and oh man, the things people are saying, the mental things. They want us to go to war. Some of this commentary out that you're probably sock puppets anyway. What, they want us to go to war? The British Army are supposed. What, we're supposed to fight Russia? Is this what they're saying? Well,
and that's another interesting thing. Starmer, you guys would have seen when he came out, and he nervously had that ridiculous piece of paper that looked like it had scribblings on it, where he said, I'm open to send troops to Ukraine, and that was within hours of Trump saying, "I'm going to bring peace, and it's no problem anymore. I'm going to sort it all out." And you can definitely see the fact that they're not singing on the same song sheet anyway. But Starmer really looks like he's been hung out to dry, and he doesn't know what he's doing at all.
No.
Funnily enough, because he was talking about a peacekeeping, putting British troops in Ukraine as a peacekeeping force, and Germany came out and said no, they're against it.
And so is France now. And so is France.
Oh, are they? I thought they were going to do it as well, but
I think that was about an hour or two ago. France said no, we're not up for that either. So the world politics is really twisting and turning.
Well, this is all because of what Trump's doing. He's really he's flipped the tables. He really has, and everybody's running around like headless chickens, trying to work out what to do. And it's kind of it's insane, but it's kind of glorious to see as well, because at last something is beginning to happen with all of this. And I think the going back to 2014 and everything that's happened in Ukraine we're on a road to exposure with what Trump's doing. And I think that hopefully that will all come out in the wash at some point. But it's very interesting that while Ukraine was going on and the US and the UK and whoever else was sending millions and billions over there, nobody was talking about peace except Trump. Everybody was talking about prolonging the war. I mean, we're talking about people dying. We're talking about destruction. We're talking about waste, just all these really terrible things. And all of these politicians, these Western politicians, are just saying, no, we've got to keep it going. We've got to keep it going. And no one was talking about peace. No one was. And what Trump said was really excellent just recently when, who was it? A lot of European nations were complaining that they weren't invited to these proposed peace negotiations, okay, that Trump's going to do with Putin and Zelensky. And he turned around to him, he said, what have you been doing for the last 3 years? You've had your chance. Why have you not done it? And now you're complaining that you're not being invited. It's like it's your fault. Shut up.
And actually something changed, because Trump had been very diplomatic right up until, was it yesterday, when he said, Zelensky's a dictator, which has caused everyone to go into a panic mode. But something changed right on that moment, because he'd been very sort of diplomatic up until that moment.
Yeah. I mean, leaving aside, the question of whether Zelensky is not a dictator, the elections have been pushed back. Yes, I sort of understand that in a war footing. I kind of get it, although I don't. I understand why the English elections have been pushed back, and that's a very different matter. That could be seen as dictatorship. So I suppose we could cut Zelensky some slack on that, as this is a war situation. But going back to 2014, the mainstream media were full of the Nazi threat. There were headlines in such liberal organs as The Guardian saying, I paraphrase, does Ukraine have a Nazi problem? Really? Does it really? Well, yeah. Bloody hell, it does. And all these Western liberals bleating about, defending democracy. Well, there's a pretty big strand of fascism in Ukraine. There's people wandering around, Azov battalion with runic symbols, people with bloody Nazi tattoos and Sonderrat, sun wheels, mystical symbols, Volks anger stuff, SS shit, And these are in the army.
Yeah, we see it all the time, but I don't think the average person knows what these flags and signs and signals are. Actually, they don't, because they're wandering around the streets of London most weekends, as Brondes can tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Go back a year or so, and there are Ukrainian flags flying everywhere in London. They have now, for the most part, disappeared. But you still see one or two around. There's still a Ukrainian flag flying above one of the buildings hall. When we were down there when we were down there for the when was it, a few weeks ago, I just happened to look up, and just where the stage was, just in front of the cenotaph, building off to the left, which is just where Downing Street is, I looked up and there's a Ukrainian flag flying there.
I want to make it really clear, though, that you don't have to take sides in all this. You have to be on. You can be on the side of peace for both parties who are involved in the conflict. Well, there's not both. There's several. There's quite a few, actually. And it is understandable that the Russians didn't want ethnic minorities to be ethnically cleansed in the Donbass region, which was just mentioned by 4D, the notorious burning of the Trades Union Centre, and expulsions and attacks on ethnic Russians, just pure bigotry held by certain elements in Ukraine against Russians. But secondly, the Russians, it's understandable they don't want NATO on their border. There were guarantees given. Oh, we won't expand. We won't expand. We'll keep it as a buffer zone. All Ukraine should do, really, and I know, here we go, armchair politics and all that. I get it. But just declare neutrality, mate. Mr. Zelensky, declare neutrality. Protects your minorities. Isn't that Is that not a Western thing?
But I think you're assuming that Zelensky is actually the one in control of everything. He's obviously not. He's just a puppet. He's just like many others. He's been installed and he's been told what to do, and he's carrying it out as best he can. That is obviously becoming extremely difficult for him now.
He's destroying his country. He's destroying his country. It seems to me. For what?
Even if we take it for exactly what the media tell us it is, if you go back to basics and say it's a little boy at school picking on a big boy at school, you stand around and watch the fight for a while, and you commend the little boy for standing up for himself, hitting the big guy. But after the big guy gives the little guy a few hits and it looks like he's going to lose, you don't keep on cheering the little guy to keep on having a go. You get in the middle and you go, okay, you've proved your point now. Right, separate. This is the same situation. They're all giving. It's as if they're looking at the little boy that's been beaten up, and he's looking up, blood flowing down from his face, and they're saying, "Go on, have another go, Mush. We'll give you knuckle dusters this time."
Yeah, I know. We just keep giving you stuff. I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh God, no. Oh, what's happened? Oh, here's something else. Here's a knife. No. But
that aside, we know that it's not what the media tell us, and so I'm going to be one that I believe it is Ukraine's fault, and I do believe that there's more reasons for this war than we know about. And I'd like to also add that right at the beginning of this war, the problem in this war was the crazy lunatic called Putin, who would have his finger over the red button and he would kill us all at a moment's notice because he's such a crazy man. At what point are we allowed to say, I don't think he's crazy, he's done nothing now yet?
There are comments on the BBC and all over the liberal media saying that, if we give in to Putin now, he's going to take over Europe. What? Why does the largest country in the world want to move down? People are saying, he wants to take Germany, the Baltic states, Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous scaremongering now. They really are scraping the barrel with trying to maintain the narrative that Putin he wants to take over the world. He wants to destroy the West, and I don't think he does. I think he just wants to protect Russia. At the end of the day,
I'll go out even one further, and because I've been saying it for a long time, and I know I lost a very, very good friend over it, but I've got a funny feeling we've all been tricked, and Russia is the bastion. They were actually trying to save Europe, perhaps.
Yeah, well, They played nicely.
I know that's a strange thing to say.
Yeah. It is controversial, but Russia did play nicely after the fall of the Soviet Union and the tricolour was raised, and then you had Yeltsin, and then you had the rape of the financial rape of Russia by the so-called oligarchs and the West, and this has gone on and on. But what is I would say, what is the point of NATO now? NATO, the North Atlantic organization headed by the United States, essentially, was set up to contain the communist menace, the Comintern, the idea that communists were trying to spread over the world. And the Soviet Union fell in 1991. So what is NATO's role? Well, it's wandering around for a role. As you know too well, 4D, one of the things they did was move into the Balkans conflict as so-called peacekeepers.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's their role. They're casting around and think, oh, what are we going to do? Because I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but very few organisations, once instituted, once set up, they don't suddenly say, well, we've done it. We got there. That's it, boys. We're ending it all. There's no more NATO. We don't need NATO anymore because the Soviet Union has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, the whole purpose has become justifying and maintaining its own existence now. It's not about a protection from the Soviet threat. It's all about, okay, now we've got to keep it going because it's probably there's a hell of a lot of people making a lot of money within NATO.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yep. Well, Russia, from going from a communist country, is now, when you look at it, and when people who visit Russia are astonished at this, it's hyper consumerist, hyper capitalist. It's a completely different system. But still, the Russian menace continues, this narrative. And it's been built up over centuries. It's probably come from even the 19th century, where you had the Great Game, talking about keeping Russians out of this and that. And it's continued. It's built into our psyche. We've been told about the Russian threat all our lives. It's just morphed. Whereas Russia has changed, the narrative hasn't.
Exactly. Well, it's the established narrative, and it's all of the organs invested in keeping that narrative alive. It's a lot easier for them to do that, although it's kind of a downward spiral, I think, than it is to start up a whole new narrative.
I grew up in the 80s, and I was saying to someone recently, in the 80s, every single enemy was the Russians, whether it was a movie, whether it was, Rocky fighting the Russians. Then you had superheroes, even it was the American superheroes, and the super villains were always Russians. If you were an 80s kid, there is no way you wouldn't believe the Russians are an evil country. And so here we are in 2025, and it's exactly the same propaganda. And I remember growing up thinking, oh, I can't stand Russia. Russia's the bad guys, and we must beat up Russians, to who I am today. And I think, wow, what a trick of TV, music, all of the influences that I was under as a teenager, as a younger child, was all rubbish, just to keep a war, or keep the Star Wars project going, keep the money flowing.
Well, what I think's become more evident is that it's basically it's not a national. The threat is not a national threat in terms of a certain country or certain groups of countries. It's this kind of underlying cabal, if you like, what you might call the deep state, which is an national. They don't see things in terms of nations, but it's kind of a sleight of hand. They keep this public perception of it being a nation, which is a threat, where it's not that at all. It's actually them, and they're everywhere. They're not just in. I mean, they're probably not in Russia at all. I think Putin's pretty much stated as much. Russia is probably one of the few countries in the world where the deep state doesn't really have that much freedom to operate because of Putin. And that's probably why they're hated so much. That's probably why the narrative is so anti-Russian, because they are a threat to this underlying cabal.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of see it that way. I'm reading a very interesting book at the moment called it's just about the history of technocracy. And when we talk, in these actually these are 18th century or 19th century terms of left and right, which originally came from the Russian Revolution, that's been superseded. That's just, again, something that various elite I suppose technocrats have decided to again, as a sort of distraction, all the left, the right. People hate Trump, people hate Biden, and it's kind of irrational. It's like, you're my team. This is, sorry folks, it's not a game of football. It's not Arsenal versus Man U,
Even that's fixed.
Yeah, people say that, don't they? Yeah.
See, again, it's another thing to realise is when you talk about evil people, bad people, all they're doing is playing the system. And as you rightly said earlier, Viv, what's the point in a doctor fixing you? There's no money in that, and that's all the bad people do is try to make more money and more power.
Yeah, of course, and also I would add, they do have dreams. They do have mad dreams like transhumanism. It's a kind of spilt religion that they're following. It's got a lot of Christian undertones, really. We saw this during the COVID hoax. It was so religious. I could not believe it. You line up, you make confession. You come out, you go and visit the priest who gives you the sacrament, the sacred sacrament. I've had my COVID-19 vaccination. Shall I tell you what? Something I learned the other day. I may have spoken about it last week. COVID-19. Look at 9 and 19. What are those letters if you translate them into the alphabet? What are those letters? A.
S.
So one.
A and
one is A.
J, is it? J is the other one.
COVID-9. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. COVID AI.
Oh, AI, right. Oh, right.
Oh, I, yeah.
Just a little.
Interesting.
A little thought. Just a little thought,
Someone was mentioning to me the whole Kofefi thing again, and it'd come up in a conversation that I don't know if you remember when Trump was talking about. I think he was talking about coffee, and in his tweet he wrote it Kofefi. It spelt it wrong, and everyone was laughing that Trump couldn't spell, and it was terrible, and how ridiculous the guy was, and there was a lot of people saying that the Kofefi, I'm just trying to look for it on my phone. That's why I'm there. It the numbers basically 3 elements. I can't. So there were 3 elements anyway, and
COVEFE. Fe is iron. CO carbon monoxide or dioxide. VE, don't know what that is in the table of elements.
Yes, basically in the table of elements, there was 3 things that Kofefi said.
Yeah,
but the AI is another interesting one. I've heard people say it several times.
They're mad about AI. Absolutely mad about it. It's almost as if the politicians have grown so lazy that they think, we might as well just let's let AI run everything. It's a further retreat into the bubble.
Yeah,
You know, we won't have to do anything then. We won't have to do anything. We just let AI run it, and if something goes wrong, we'll say, "Oh, it wasn't us. A big boy did it and ran away. It was AI."
Oh, here's something interesting on that Covfefe thing. Or CO, like you say, it will be carbon monoxide, and Fe is iron. But VE is apparently, I've just looked it up, is veritasium, and it's a hypothetical element with atomic number 2545 and symbol VE. It is named after veritasium, an element of truth that has science and engineering videos. Or it may be vanadium, which is just V, which is looks like a heavy metal of some kind. Atomic number 23. 23, which is a very, very significant number, is a hard
23.
silvery grey malleable. Sorry? Its atomic number is 23.
23. Yeah. Very important number.
It is a hard silver grey malleable transition metal. The elemental metal is rarely found in nature, but once isolated artificially, the formation of an oxide layer somewhat stabilizes and something somewhat stabilizes the free metal against further oxidation. So
I found the one I found the one I saw, and what it was it said 5G was originally designed and installed to do great harm. Then it became known to President Trump, and Trump then came out with Covfefe, spelt COVFEFE. When he tweeted the word Covfefe, everyone thought he was misspelling the word coffee. Covfefe, if you look at break it down on the periodic table of elements, you have CO for cobalt, V for vandalum, Fe for iron, and another Fe for iron. Trump had Motorola and Raytheon built him a blah, 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 blah. And made with those elements, they went around and installed these boxes onto all 5G towers and tried to get them all installed before the towers went into service. They had to make millions of these things. And what the box does, if you have a 5G tower, you install the box and it creates a magnetic field that surrounds the tower. This magnetic field transforms 60 hertz to 432 hertz. And we all know that 432 hertz is ill. So again, I don't know what part of Covfefe, but it's certainly very interesting part of the Q drops.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So CO is cobalt. So what would carbon monoxide be then? What's the
CO1, I think, isn't it? Isn't it CO1?
It would just be CO, surely. They don't have one. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know then. In that case, I mean CO2. We all know about. That's the thing that they want to get rid of.
Dioxide.
Yeah. Carbon monoxide, of course, is very dangerous.
Yeah. I'm just looking it up now. See what it is.
Yeah, I was just looking it up for you. So carbon monoxide is just CO.
It is CO. Oh, it's capital C, capital O, whereas cobalt is capital C, lowercase o. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this might seem to our listeners, very esoteric, but I assure you that spelling and numbers are very, very important. They're the basis of our communication system as sentient human beings. You know, we communicate using words, and the words have been formalized. We communicate using speech, which are now formalized into a system of symbols. And when you spell, you're spelling. Spelling means casting a spell.
You're casting a spell when you spell.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Well, not only that. I mean, I think the emphasis. If I was to text one of you two and make a spelling mistake, you'd go, it's just 40. He's crap at spelling. But someone like Trump, because there was a whole period of time. I think there was 3 or 4 or 5, 6, whatever it was. Text messages or whatever you call it that Trump had put out that were misspelled, and to think and he'd put, there was even some, I don't know if you're aware, but it was another part of the Q thing was every time Trump would post something, there would be capital letters in the middle of words that didn't belong to be in the middle of words, and it was pointed out to us to take all the capital letters, and it would be a different message. Now, people have been sending secret messages to each other since two people could ever communicate with each other, and it didn't blow my mind that something like that was going on. As you say, we all talk. Most people have codes and passwords and open sesame and all of that sort of. It's all spells and rhythms. And
well, it was a definite tactic. It was a definite and deliberate tactic used by Trump with all the spelling mistakes. Because first of all, it's at the time when he was when he was banned off of Twitter. One way to guarantee to get his posts and the things that he posted more exposure was to make silly spelling mistakes, and of course all of the his media enemies would jump on it and expose it, going, "Haha, look, Trump's so stupid, he's made this stupid spelling mistake." But all it would do was make more gain a bigger audience for what he was saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
First of all, and there may I'm sure there may be deeper reasons for some of the spelling mistakes and the odd capitals and this, that, and the other, which may or may not relate to Q posts. A lot of people ascertain they do. I don't know, but yeah. So I think there was several layers to that whole tactic that he was using, and it was almost always deliberate for some reason or other.
Someone of that intelligence, I would assume so.
We're going to get in a lot of trouble for all these things. Imagine a hyper-liberal, an authoritarian liberal listening to this. They go, "Oh my God,"
Well, no, because we're just three fantasists telling our fantasistic stories. This is only entertainment purposes, as my good friend Jordan Sather says. This is just entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
We're just three mates. We're just three mates down the pub having a chat. It's like, you can listen or you don't have to listen, but we're just we're just chewing fat.
It's all a game show, folks.
Yeah.
In actual fact, we're three of the most important soothsayers you will ever listen to.
Yeah. Oh, blimey, eh? God. It's interesting though, because this podcast is one of the few where you hear ordinary English people speaking.
Yeah, genuine, and that's why I said you don't. As I said, there's a lot of Americans doing this kind of just normal chatting. There's not many English ones at the moment.
No, there's not a lot, is there? It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, that's quite a good point. None that I've come across. There are English guys who do podcasts and put out stuff, but they're just generally single guys doing it, or women who do it. There's not like just a few blokes or a few women just sitting down having a chat about anything they fancy.
And we're not charging for this, people. We're not charging for this. Not yet.
Yeah, good point.
Not yet. No, I'm joking. We're not charging for this. Of course, we're bloody not.
No.
I enjoy what someone had said to me that it's interesting the differences that of what three guys will talk about compared to what three girls will talk about, and I'm very interested. I'd love a group of girls to do something like this, women, sorry, just because I'm interested to know what you're interested in, and I'm interested to know how different our conversations are. The intelligence levels are the same. It's just that our different brains go into different places, and I even find that interesting.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
There is a kind of sort of comparison there with regards to. There's a couple of shows on Badlands Media. It's an American media channel, and they have, amongst all of the shows they put out, they have one called Y-Chromes, which is just guys, like 3 or 4 guys chatting about guy stuff. Okay, sports and what guys talk about. And then there's also one called Alphas Make Sandwiches, right? Which is women doing exactly the same thing. I mean, it's American. They're all American, so it's obviously not a UK thing. But you can kind of maybe get a general idea from that.
Alphas make sandwiches.
Yeah, what it was, right? What it was, okay? Because it started with the all guy one, the Y Chromes podcast, and there's a guy on there called Alpha, right? And it was before Christmas. It was about a month before Christmas last year, and he sort of pushing the male side of things. He challenged the women on the channel. He said, women can't do this, but women can't get this together on their own. And I challenged them to do an all women show before Christmas, get it up and running, and put it out before Christmas. And so, of course, the women took him up on that, and they did it. And to kind of as a kind of a jibe against him, because like the joke is, men always say about women, "Oh, make us a sandwich," like a typical sort of chauvinistic type thing. And so they named it "Alphas Make Sandwiches," as a kind of a joke.
Now I know the background. That's I like that name. Yes,
it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, when you look at the media landscape, there's a lot of professionals coining it. Basically, I mean, some people on Substack are making a bloody fortune. There's people on there who are coining it, and
You can make money on Substack as well, then, can you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I never charge for any content on my Substack, nothing whatsoever. But there are levels of support that you can. So I could put stuff behind firewalls, for example, like the mainstream media. I mean, I sometimes go to the Guardian. I try to look at the Guardian sites for their coverage of Donbass and. In 2014, when they were reporting on the Nazi menace from within Ukraine, and they're behind firewalls. A number of them are, and a number of the Substack people put their stuff behind firewalls. To read the rest, you have to subscribe. I certainly
What's the minimum subscription on there,
Mate, I don't know. I can tell you in a second if you bear with me.
Yeah, sure. Because I was going to say, like you're a prolific poster, and you actually have quite a few people that are interested in reading your posts and looking at what you put up. And I was going to say, surely if there's a really small, like £1 a month, you'll be surprised. I think you'd find that people would pay if it's a small nominal fee.
I always wonder about mainstream outlets putting up paywalls. I mean, the Daily Telegraph, which is kind of one of the main right wing papers in the UK, their website is behind a paywall. You can go to the website and you can look at the headlines, but if you actually want to read any articles, then it comes up with the the paywall thing. And I do wonder how effective that is, because what they're doing is obviously, like for myself, I don't subscribe to it. I go on there and I'll look at the headlines just to see what the headlines are saying. But how many readers they actually stop from viewing their articles? How much how it affects their readership, and how much money they actually make from people subscribing? Does it really balance out? Is it really worth it? Isn't it better just for people to see what they're writing rather than try and make money from it? And
you'd be right if they were distributors of news, buddy, but the problem is they're just makers of money. But yeah, you're right, it would make much more sense, because most things I see with a paywall I don't bother with.
Oh no, I never. If there's a paywall, it's like, okay, get lost, I'm not interested.
And if they really
quite
wanted
often
to push the news out, it would be free.
I mean, the main thing is if it's news, if it's like headline news, you can find it somewhere else without a paywall. So the only real point of paying the subscription is to read the opinion pieces, and most of them on the mainstream, they're all just they're mainstream journalists, they're mainstream commentators. So what they have to say is probably not really gonna amount to much anyway. It's just the opinion of their mainstream views.
Yeah. I normally have some notes in front of me with some things I've seen, and I haven't wrote anything down this week, but I know there was something else.
We did have a spate over the course of 2 or 3 days, probably over the weekend, of loads of attacks happening in Europe, knife attacks. More, and it just seemed over a space of 2 or 3 days, it was just happening everywhere. There was Brussels, there was Greece, there was Germany. It was just going off. It seemed. It was like, whoa. It was crazy.
Yeah, and you've just reminded me what my other big news. I don't know what you said that reminded me, but it was the Tommy Robinson thing. Like, things are really turning quite nasty with that at the moment.
Well, is he being denied food now or something like that? He's not. Yeah, it's just insane, isn't it? What they're doing to him. Whether you agree with him or not, the way he's being treated is just flat out wrong. And that's it. It's ridiculous.
And I see even Nigel Farage has been forced to say that it's wrong. But when I watched him saying it, he still looked like he was saying it through gritted teeth. And I really, if anyone from a reformer listening, like, it really turns. I am I am back in reform, but every time I see the way they're treating a fellow British human being, it really turns me off of reform. Him.
Well, there's an interesting thing there. Like Rupert Lowe, who's a Reform MP, he has been much more free in his opinion about the whole thing. He's been doing 1 or 2 podcasts recently, and he's pretty open about it. And he says a lot of common sense things, especially with regards to Tommy Robinson. He says, I don't support him. I've never met him, but look at the way he's being treated. It's wrong. This can't be right. And there was a Dan Wootton, one of Dan Wootton's podcasts. I think it was last week now, and he made a really interesting point about he was comparing Tommy Robinson and Douglas Murray. Okay. And the point he was making was that Douglas Murray is a well-respected, obviously very intelligent guy, very well-educated, posh. He's a posh, well-educated English guy, and he says basically when it comes to the subject of Islam, okay, he says pretty much exactly the same thing that Tommy Robinson says.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he gets lauded. I mean, he has his critics. You get people who don't like him, but he's got, he has a column on the Spectator. He's accepted, and he doesn't receive at all the same treatment that Tommy Robinson does. You get Tommy Robinson, he's like just a working class guy. He speaks with a common accent. He doesn't have any of the kind of education or the class privileges that Douglas Murray has, and he gets treated completely differently when they're basically saying the same thing. And to Douglas Murray's credit, he admits that Douglas Murray has actually made that point himself.
Working class people, all working class people can say that if you don't mind your P's and Q's. Personally, for me, I grew up in Portsmouth. We swearing was just a part of my language. It emphasises words. It's how I enjoy. And then I joined the army, and anyone who thinks that you don't swear in the army is very mistaken. But so when I engage in people, I not so much because now, but yeah, whenever you swear, you curse, you don't have a posh accent, people aren't interested in what you say. They naturally assume you've got nothing interesting to say.
Well, yes, it's a class. It's
definite.
It's
got to the point where if they're denying him food, it's really in the public's. It's really being pushed in our faces now. That's. I don't care. Even if it was someone who'd raped kids, well, maybe not that far. Even if it was a murderer, we'd be saying this is not right. You can't starve someone in prison.
Yes, it's torture. I mean, and he's not done anything as bad as that at all. He's nowhere near as bad as that.
Not even at all.
Just,
I mean, what is it? Contempt of court, a civil matter that, let's be honest, 99.9% of people that had a contempt of court would either have a fine or be told to do some community service. It's not a big thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's disgusting. But again, as you say, it's a working class person, so we've got to look him up. But Douglas Murray has got a posh voice, so we'll let him say it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like because it's obviously the working. He is the what would you say? He is kind of probably the face of the working class in a way, the voice of the working class.
Not in a way. I think he's definitely become that title holder now. Definitely.
Yeah, and so there's obviously set out to make an example of him, and they would not. I'm sure, my opinion, they would not be unhappy if he died.
Of course not. Yeah, it's the easy. That's what's so bad about this starving. It's so obvious, but I guess that's it. It's. I mean, I often think why haven't they just done the same as they did to Epstein? But I guess they can't do that now because it's so raw to people.
I don't know. I mean, I do think about what the effect would have if he died in prison. That may be a lot more. They may actually be taking on a lot more than they're prepared to handle with that, because I think that would have very, very big repercussions.
But I think that's what they're doing by starving him. I think they're deliberately trying to taunt us. I always think they're trying to start a scrap sort of thing. And right now, the British government is in such a low point that it wouldn't surprise me if they starve him to death, because they want to start civil uprising so that they can go, oh, God, yeah, we can't talk about the Chancellor's problems. We're going to have to deal with the civil unrest.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know.
I think it worries me, because if he did die in prison, especially if it was something like a long-term starving, there would be. I can imagine there's quite a few angry people that would come together and do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there probably would be civil unrest, no doubt.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Yeah. Although, all of the people on Tommy's side, they always say, let's do it peacefully, let's do it legally, and they would all call for that, but it probably wouldn't stop it. It would probably still happen, unfortunately. But I mean, he's not been starved. He can still get food, but because of the situation, he has to rely on things like tins of food and stuff that. Stuff that he knows can't be tampered with. So I don't think that they're sort of saying, no, you can't have any food. They're not starving him as such, but they are torturing him. That's what they're doing. They're torturing him.
No, sure, and that's their way out of it, is that, oh no, he can have the food. It's just that he's choosing not to have it. No, he's knowing that that someone could poison him. It's obvious.
Yeah.
But are you back? Are you, Viv?
I think I'm back, mate.
Hello there. Yeah.
Hello.
Good old Suffolk internet. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon we're steam powered here, boy. Steam powered.
Yeah, did the mice fall off the wheel? The mouse fall off the
wheel? Yeah. That's right.
You'll be happy to know that we've been whittling on for some time. So if you've got any final stories from the news, Viv, I think we'll sort of slowly come to an end.
Yep. Okay. Very quickly, the Tommy Robinson situation, and it does remind me of Julian Assange. And some people go, really? But they did make it very difficult for Assange. They made it very difficult for him. In Belmarsh.
They're very, very. There are definite similarities going on there for sure.
And actually, what's the news from us? What's the story with Assange at the moment?
He's out. He's very quiet. I don't know. I'm sure
He's
saying
been quiet
things
since he came out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't want to. If I'd undergone that, I think I wouldn't want a public profile for a while.
Oh,
he's probably
blimey,
recovering. He's probably trying to recover. I mean, I'm sure what he went through has damaged him deeply, psychologically. So he's probably just trying to get his head together again and get his life together.
Absolutely, I reckon.
Fair one. Fair one.
Okay, very quickly. I think I know why they've put the elections back in England. The local elections. The tentacles of globalism are spreading to a local level. They want mayors. Now, what does that mean? Oh, it sounds good, doesn't it? But we've got the C40 Council of Mayors, which I posted a UK column, a whole article about. But if anyone wants to look at that, you can go into the UK column link, which I posted. It's a video, and you'll see. If you just want to look at the mayor situation, you can follow the timeline and you'll find it, and just go to that, because UK column does report on a lot of different. They're not one particular political current. They report on lots of things. So they'll be, say, for example, they'll have someone pro-Palestine, pro-Israel. They'll have someone, so it may put people off, but they are reporting on deep state activities, on globalism, and the C40 Council of Mayors, and in particular this one, which I found out, which is very interesting. It's all tied in, of course, with the fake environmental, the climate crisis, the fake crisis. The Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy is the next one. So I think this whole mayor thing needs to be looked at carefully. That's one thing.
Me,
secondly, sorry, carry on, man.
Carry on, Viv. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say it's tied in with the C40 Council of Mayors, of whom Sadiq Khan of London, the London mayor, is current head.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
it's just another level. It's just another level of bureaucracy, isn't it? Really, and anyone who's had any experience of mayors, and they introduced the mayor in London back in, I can't remember when it was, the 90s with Ken Livingstone. And that has not gone well at all. It's not gone well at all. So they've gotten progressively worse. We had Livingstone, then we had Boris Johnson, and now we've got Khan. And they're just getting worse and worse and worse. It's not good. It's not a good thing.
No, it's really not. It's really not.
No.
I mean, the idea of a mayor is as an old traditional mayor opening garden fetes, and that's all gone. They're being co-opted into the globalist framework, globalist network. They're going right local now. Next thing, I bet you they pick on local councils. They are already parish councils even. They want their tentacles in everything. They're obsessed. They're obsessed with the globalist technocratic agenda, of which we don't have a name for them yet. We could call them Nazis, but that's not that appropriate. We could call them commies, but even then, it's something new that's going on. And secondly, rewilding. They want to bloody rewild. They want to introduce links into Scotland and northern England. They want to let the sea flood into places which have suffered terribly from erosion and from the sea for hundreds of years. They want to put back all that progress, get rid of it, let the sea in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, with the mayor thing, it's just, once again, the state looking to control even more aspects of our everyday lives and us. It's just, it's a nanny state on steroids, isn't it? They just want to control everything. They want to tell us what to do, how to live our lives. And it's just more government, bigger government, and it's never the answer.
Never ever the answer. They even tell us what they even want to tell us how and what to think about.
Oh, of course, yes. Well, that's the ultimate, isn't it? That's their ultimate wet dream, to be able to control what we think, because then everything else comes, is easy after that.
Now, George Orwell's 1984 is not meant to be a blueprint, people.
No, yeah. What about you, Brondes? Was there any stories in the week's news that you wanted to have a pop at?
No, nothing comes to mind, to be honest with you. I've kind of pretty much said everything that was on my mind. But I'm sure that as soon as we finish this, I'll come up with a few things. That was something I wanted to talk about. But no,
you got to save it for next week, mate.
Do I have to start taking notes? Oh my god, this is getting serious. If we were down the pub, as we imagine we are, I would just say, whose round is it? Get them in.
Yeah,
fair one. Right. Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, is that last orders? I hear last orders.
And it shows how old I am, because most Thursday evenings I'm sat here chatting to you with a coffee, so it's not even a beer anymore, I'm afraid.
No.
Oh no.
I think I'm the only one of us three who regularly goes down the pub. I generally go down of a Friday and have a pint down the Dove.
Do you know what? I enjoyed. Sorry, go on, Brondes.
I'll just quickly say, last time I had a medical of any kind, they asked me how much alcohol do you drink, and I said, well, I maybe have a few pints, 2 or 3 pints, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and she just went, okay, teetotal. so I'm officially a teetotaler, although I do drink.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, as an ex-alcoholic, I enjoyed going to the pub with you guys when we went up to Suffolk, and I had a shandy. I think I had. I had a what do you call? Anyway, a lime shandy. But I hadn't been in a pub for a long time. It was nice to actually just be sat with a couple of guys in a pub, just as we did, looking around the pub, having a chat. I don't know what we probably chatted much like we are now.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a gentle pub. The Fat Cat's a fairly gentle pub. The Dove is even more gentle. Blimey, there's very few. There's very few kind of sort of rowdy types who go there, and if they do, they're chucked out. So yeah,
we've got to bring these public speaking places back.
Yeah.
I did think about that 4D after. I was thinking about that afterwards when we went to the pub, knowing that you are, sort of an ex-alcoholic, and I thought that was really, really good of you to do that, because you knew, because it was kind of me and Viv like, let's go down the pub, and you just went along with it, and I thought, that was really, really good of you to do that. And we had 1 pint, and I just really fancied another, and you two wanted to go, and I was like, let's have one more.
Yeah.
You were perfectly fine with it, so I appreciate that very much. By the way, 4D, that didn't go unnoticed.
Thank you. So. No, it was my pleasure. Like I say, it was actually very enjoyable. Yeah.
No, I agree. It takes a degree of bravery. I know an alcoholic and an ex-girlfriend actually, and she won't even go in a pub. She won't be around people. If I've got a bottle of beer, she's like, whoa. She told me off for buying some wine from a wine merchant in Woodbridge, who's in the resistance as well, Spanish guy. She's going, oh no, that was terrible. I don't know.
What else are you going to buy from a wine merchant? What was she thinking?
I know. I told her that. But
Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah,
I know. No, you're right. You're right, man. But yeah, it must be tough for her.
Yeah.
I think it's more that she thought, well, he's going to pay money for wine. I'm just going to give him some wine for free.
Aye. What did the grape say when it was trod on?
I don't know. What did it say?
It said nothing. It just let out a little wine.
Oh, right. Well, on that rubbish, on that rubbish dad joke, I suppose we should say goodbye to each other there on that one.
Yeah.
All the best.
Yeah,
All the best.
we normally end on something very profane or not profane, very profound or very stupid. So I think that.
I know. I do apologise. All the best, gentlemen. Have a wonderful week. Love and peace to all.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you.
Bye bye.